Well, shit. She. My dumb ass. Yeah. I'm so stupid, bro. All right, there we go. We're in this bitch. Is it working? Why am I looking right? Yeah. Okay. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. I am gonna restart this because yeah. Like I said though, this is Outer Worlds 2. Everything you need to know, and what I want to know is why there's not fucking co-op. Why can I not play with my homies? You know what I'm saying? I will buy this for people. I will triple their gains. You know what I mean?
From its updated floor system to its optional third-person perspective, here's everything to know about The Outer Worlds 2. Development on The Outer Worlds 2 began as developer Obsidian was wrapping up production on the original Outer Worlds. Tim Kaine, a co-creator of the original Fallout and co-director of the first Outer Worlds, remained as a
Is this actual gameplay? Because this is the first time I'm seeing this. I don't know if this is like what it looks like now. That's actually lit. It's got new monsters and everything.
Consultant on the sequel after retiring in 2020. Speaking to the outlet Rock Paper
LMGs,
Shotgun in early
robots.
2024, Kaine stated that he believed that The Outer Worlds 2 had solved a problem that had plagued RPGs since the earliest days of the genre, even referring to notes he had made when developing the first Fallout game that referenced said issue. While we don't have specifics on what exactly this problem is, The Outer Worlds 2 creative director Leonard Boyarsky states that he and Kaine are aligned on making the game, quote, bigger and deeper than the first. Boyarsky claims that
Pause on that.
due to how limited the team was for time and resources when making the original Outer Worlds, that the second game, quote, delivers on the fantasy we had when we started the first game.
Delivers on the fantasy they had.
Outer Worlds takes place in an alternate timeline where US President McKinley was never assassinated. In real US history,
why we gotta bring the real world into this? This is my fun shooter RPG game. Like, this is the best shooter RPG I've ever played in my life. Outer Worlds 1, I have never, like, I'm not a single player type of guy, but this will be a big part of my channel and stuff. I'm gonna spend my money, $100 on this game. I don't want to think about the real world, man. It's not my business.
after McKinley was assassinated, his vice president, Theodore Roosevelt, was elevated to the office of the presidency, where he served until 1909. During his tenure, Roosevelt was known as a trust buster and put checks on corporations that allowed the federal government to have greater degrees of regulation over the private sector. In the timeline of The Outer Worlds, those checks are never put in place, and a handful of corporations grow in such size and power that they largely dictate the planet and eventually the cosmos. In the first Outer Worlds, set in the mid-2300s in the six-planet star system known as Halcyon, the player is trying to save a ship, the Hope, that is adrift in space with thousands of colonists stuck in cryosleep. As their
Okay, buddy, I'm not gonna lie to you. I like your video so far. I did not want this history lesson on the game that I literally played like for hours. I probably have about 500 hours in the game that takes maybe 100 to beat, to like 100% complete. I played the game enough. I know what happened. I don't need this information, big dog. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That mission progresses, the player
maybe other people do,
the
but like,
the collective name for the
I'm trying to know about Outer Worlds too.
Plans to turn the Hope into a permanent cryogenic warehouse and store even more colonists, so only the most wealthy can indulge in the colony's dwindling resources. At the end of the first game, the player ends up being put in charge of Halcyon, either as a stooge of the board or as the freedom fighter that stood up against it. The Outer Worlds 2 takes place a few years later in the colony of Ark Arcadia, where rifts in space have cut Arcadia off from Earth. As an agent of the Earth Directorate, the administrative body that oversees relations between Earth and its colonies, the player gets caught in a conflict between two opposing forces, the Protectorate and Auntie's Choice. The Protectorate is an authoritarian government that first had control over the colony. Auntie's Choice is a megacorporation that is the result of a merger between two megacorps from the first game, Auntie Cleo and Spacer's Choice. This new megacorporation wants to take advantage of Arcadia's space rift problem to seize control of the colony's trade routes. There's a third faction in the game as well that will play a large role.
Am I slow? Did he just say Auntie's is merging with what is that shit called? Spacer's Choice? I think that's what it's called. So they merged and became one big business. That's a monopoly on the system, man.
Role in the story, the Order of the Ascendant, a spin-off from the Protectorate that is equal parts science and religion and thinks it can predict the future through equations.
Oh,
Assisting
Lord.
the player in navigating this cosmopolitical quagmire will be 6 companions. Niles and Valerie are fellow members of the Earth Directorate, Inez comes from Auntie's Choice, Tristan from the Protectorate, and Marisol from the Order of the Ascendant. Finally, Aza is from the Glorious Dawn, an offshoot of the Order that has leaned into the group's more religious aspects and worshipped the space rifts like a god. And before you ask, no,
Nice.
you cannot romance companions in the Outer Worlds 2.
Bro, let me get a girl, bro. I got one in real life. I just need one more, you know what I'm saying? I just need one electronically. I just need, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna edit that out. Probably not, though.
The Outer Worlds 2 is an RPG shooter that can be played in either first or third person, with both ranged and melee weapons. The game has also improved mobility over the first title, adding sliding, double jumping, and mantling. The Outer Worlds 2 has also expanded on its weapon handling and variety, the devs boasting major improvements over combat in the first game. Time dilation is also making a return, giving the player the option to slow down time for a few seconds before it resets on a cooldown. As the player progresses through the game, they'll level up and be able to modify their character with skills and perks. There are 12 skills in the game, which will allow the player to have access to different dialogue and actions depending on whether they have invested in the appropriate skills for the current task. Skills also dictate which perks are available to the player, of which there are over 90. Perks unlock further actions available to the player, as well as modify their stats. The game also has a floor system. Depending on the player's actions, the game
Bro,
will
I hate that
identify
system.
flaws in the player and then offer up a named flaw.
The
player can
flaws,
choose to
bro, I had fallen from so many high places that I got like broken ankles or some shit was my flaw. So I took so much damage, it made me quit playing on one of my playthroughs. Like anytime I got hit, I think it was like 25% more damage taken, and I lost my mind playing that game. That playthrough was terrible.
take on these flaws, which provide them with both negative and positive traits. The player character's background, i.e. why they signed up to join the Earth Protectorate in the first place, and their core traits will also open up different gameplay options. Players can pick either a single positive trait during character creation or 2 positive and 1 negative trait. Skills, perks, traits, and the player character's background cannot be changed once the player has committed to them. While exploring the world, the player can turn on the radio and tune into 3 stations, one for each major faction in the game. The radio stations will not only play music, but will have news bulletins that will highlight events the player has had an active hand in. The player's choices in the game will also affect their reputation with the 3 factions, altering their relationship and interactions with those factions members. The Outer Worlds 2 will launch on October 29th, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. While initially revealed as Microsoft's first $80 game, the corporation eventually walked that pricing back, and the standard edition of the game will cost...
They walked it back, huh? That's probably the best idea they had to walk that stupid shit back. Cause I think when I first heard about that, I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna buy it then." Yeah, but I'm gonna buy a deluxe edition. That's what I do. I'm a money waster. You know what I mean? If I see a good game, I like it, I'm spending my money.
$70 instead. A premium edition of the game will retail for $100 and allows players to jump into the Outer Worlds 2 5 days early on October 24th, as well.
Today's 22nd. Oh, I'm buying that game tomorrow. I get my money tomorrow. We're buying it. Oh my god.
Offered them some in-game gear, a digital art book and soundtrack, and
I didn't even know that. I get to play the game 5 days early.
Pre-ordering either edition of the game will also unlock some additional in-game gear.
Petted drone.
And that's everything to know about.
I appreciate you, GateSpot. You know what I'm saying? That was a good video. You know what I mean? We're gonna move on to this. The early review says it all because I want to know what this guy has to say. But from what I can tell, bro, this game is gonna be good. You know what I mean? Like I've been waiting for a good RPG shooter.
On the horizon, releasing on October 29th and in early access on October 24th. And yes, it's launching day one on Game Pass for those of you that actually kept your Game Pass subscription after the recent price hike. But yes, there's only been a few lucky souls that have gotten to play a very new build of the game before its release. So what did they have to say about the game so far? Now, if you remember the first Outer Worlds, you know it had charm, the witty writing, the corporate dystopia, the colorful art direction, but it also had some limits. Despite this, Outer Worlds is a franchise that has a very large cult following, and for good reason. And Obsidian seems to know this too, because early impressions show they're going all in this time around. Deeper RPG systems, smoother combat, actual factions that matter, new biomes to explore, and believe it or not, a full third-person mode after fans demanded it.
Actually looks
We're talking
fire.
about all of it in great detail today, but there's also some major concerns. The usual caution applies with RPGs in their early hours or honeymoon phase. The opening hours can be stellar, then lose their polish and charm later in the game. And yes, we're taking a look at yet again another Unreal Engine 5 game. Will this impact performance overall? And can Obsidian actually deliver the massive choice-driven RPG they're promising, or will...
So here's the thing. If this game mechanically is worse than what it was the first time, bro, like the first game mechanically was the best RPG shooter I have ever played. Better than Warhammer in my opinion, and that's an actual shooter. Like it's just a shooter. Like I don't know how else to explain that, but like the way the guns work, the way you move, the way you respond to things, it works for me. I love that game. And the story, it helps.
will end up feeling like the first game with a shinier coat of paint. So today, we're diving into what people are saying so far, what they're excited for, what's worrying, and whether or not The Outer Worlds 2 might just be one of the best RPGs of 2025. As always, no story spoilers here, just early impressions. Let's jump in. So yeah, right away, early hands-on impressions are calling The Outer Worlds 2 a major leap in gameplay feel. Movement, shooting, and player choice all feel sharper and more confident this time around. One of the biggest things people notice is how much better the gunplay in particular feels. Faster weapon swapping, more responsive hit detection, and a punchier feedback across the board. Even the sound design and recoil animations make the weapons feel alive now. Journalists pretty much unanimously agree, saying they were surprised by how fluid and modern the combat felt, especially compared to the first game's slower, more chunkier pace. Now, stealth and dialogue also have gotten major upgrades. Enemies now have more awareness, patrols react more realistically, and there are multiple ways to approach every encounter. You could brute force your way in, sneak through vents, or talk your way out of a fight entirely. You can even play the entire game as a pacifist. Now, one demo had players infiltrating a corporate data facility, and depending on your build, you could either hack a terminal to release poison gas, convince the guards to stand down, or just blow a hole through the front door. It's that classic Obsidian design philosophy. Every skill tree is a path forward. Now, while stealth is a viable option, there have been some noticeable opinions about the lack of stealth kill animations. Some would say what is here is pretty bare bones for a sequel when it comes to these kill animations, with no diverse animations for stealth kills, which would have been really, really nice. Even still,
diverse stealth kill animations. That's what we're complaining about. I feel like sometimes we need to just dial it back and really think to ourselves, like, what the fuck are we complaining about? Why are we complaining? Because that is egregious. That's such a nitpicky thing to bring up. I don't know. Do something else then.
It's going to be a lot of fun building out a stealth character, and Obsidian did note to Mortissimal Gaming that yes, they do plan on updating things post-launch. Let's hope that this is one of those things. And yes, tactical time dilation also returns, but it now lives inside a broader gadgets framework. Tactical time dilation is one slot. Other gadgets can replace it or complement it. There's some cool gadgets dedicated specifically to stealth, by the way. And yes, double jump boots are in, introducing real verticality without breaking the game. You could reach rooftops, flank from above, discover discrete routes, and discover some really cool secrets. It's a nice option to have. And character creation also feels a lot deeper than the first game. There's over 90 perks plus background and traits that shape your story and interactions. Want to play as a smooth-talking ex-corporate spy who's terrified of heights? Go for it. One delightful example here, a professor background paired with brilliant and dumb traits. Combining these two traits really opens up some very unique dialogue options on top of the stand.
I used to love doing intimidation or persuasion. I used to upgrade my speech, but I think the most important skill to upgrade if you want to get through things, you know, in a speedier fashion is to upgrade your, what is that skill? I don't know if it's hacking or if it's like thief skill, but when you can lockpick everything in the game, it makes the game incredibly easy. You don't need to go looking for keys to open doors. You can sometimes skip entire areas to avoid having to, you know, die on repeat. I can't remember what that space actually is where I did that at, but there's this door. It takes 100 skill points in it. I think it's the lock picking skill. It's been a while since I played. But anyways, I opened the door and then I can not go through this long, treacherous thing that I did the first time. I can just cut straight through and, you know, I'm there. It's that easy. Now, on the first playthrough, would you probably want to do that? Probably not. You know what I mean? You want to get adventurous and do your thing.
Standard dumb options, which already open silly or subversive outs in conversation. Traits like witty
What is
can
that
even
gun?
influence faction baselines, for example, helping
What is
people
that gun?
below neutral, and that immediately shifts how the world
Throwing
treats
vomit
you. Or maybe
piles
you'd
at
rather
people?
be a blunt melee-focused outlaw who can barely form a sentence but can bash open any locked door. Now, the flaw system also returns with some big upgrades. If you take too much radiation, for example, you can permanently gain a phobia in exchange for bonus perk points. It's risky but fun, and fans of the first game will love that Obsidian is doubling down on personality-driven builds. They're no longer cute debuffs you take for points, you build around them, overprepared being a perfect example. If you habitually reload before empty, the game notices and offers a flaw that jacks up your magazine size, but wrecks your damage if you ever hit zero. Suddenly you're planning reload cadence, slotting perks that refill mags on crit, and modding for mag size. But not everyone is convinced just yet. Some early impressions mention that the opening missions still feel familiar, almost too much like the original Outer Worlds, but hey, some of you guys might actually celebrate this. The quest design is tighter, sure, but you can tell Obsidian is easing players in before unleashing the deeper mechanics. The real question is whether the late game systems, the full faction politics, branching paths, and moral dilemmas actually deliver the new Vegas level of consequence the team keeps teasing. Now, a lot of the early reviews are calling Outer Worlds 2 safe but promising so far, and honestly, that's not a bad thing. The first game already nailed tone and humor, so Obsidian's clearly decided to refine rather than reinvent. The dialogue is still dripping with corporate sarcasm, the companion banter feels sharper, and the environments look
I like that
stunning.
gun.
Massive jungles, neon
Look,
cities,
there's a version of it in the
wastelands.
first
This
one.
is the most visually
That's
diverse
crazy.
game Obsidian has ever built. But we're also going to have to talk a little bit about performance here in a moment, so stick with me. But we also got to talk about, yes, that
Performance.
third-person mode, because it's actually made its way into the sequel, but with some caveats. The team actually admitted they hadn't planned on including it until fan demand got so loud that they changed their course 2 years into development. development. Now it's fully playable in either first or third person, and previewers are saying that the transition does feel natural. It's not just a camera toggle, by the way. Animations, aiming, and movement were built around it, which makes exploration in particular feel more cinematic. With that being said, some animations still look wonky from third person, especially when crouching. Now, Obsidian did note they hope to update the animations in the future, but the big question being is how many of you are really going to be playing
I'm not playing in third person.
100% of your playthrough. I will admit it's going to be nice seeing your customized character.
I might every once in a while,
option is
but
always nice.
I like the
love
fact that
they've
this is a
done
first-person
but I
game.
think this game is primarily meant to be played in first person. Let me know how you guys feel. Still, some worry that the game might be leaning too heavily on its comfort zone. The structure, humor, and pacing still feel very Outer Worlds 1, which could disappoint players expecting something radically new, but others argue that this is exactly what we want. The new Vegas devs doing what they do best.
They got a
writing,
ray gun
branching
or
choices,
a
and
shrink
worlds
gun?
full of moral
It's a shrink
gray
gun.
areas. It's familiar, yes, but in the same
I
way,
don't
your
remember
favorite
that, man.
sci-fi show coming back for a new season.
You
Familiar.
just stepped on him.
Tony's back, and that's what matters. Now, the big narrative hook this time centers around the colony world of Arcadia, a corporate-owned planet being torn apart by rival factions and strange rift anomalies.
gotta do
now,
real
the corporations
quick.
are still the stars of the show. There's plenty of new mega
I'm gonna stop this right here because I can't actually doesn't look like anybody's talking, but we're gonna go over here real quick. Go over here.
All this fatigue, you know.
What the hell? There we go. Oh, I'm doing things. Whoa. Ring manager. Ring manager. Let me pull this thing off. Pop out. Ba 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 ba. Can you guys see that? Yeah, for some reason they got where everybody can see it. Let's just fucking. I'm just gonna do this. Whoa. Whoa, get out of my way. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Okay. That's actually kind of cool. Let's make you super small. Put you up. Put you out the way for now. You'll be fine. If I see something pop up, I'll
brands that have
look at
stepped
it.
up to fight over what's left from the Outer Worlds 1. The team did confirm that factions play a bigger role than ever. Your decisions now truly affect their power, how missions play out, and even the ending you get. It's clear Obsidian took lessons from New Vegas to heart. You could betray groups, ally with others, or wipe entire organizations off the map if you want to. And
Okay.
companions also feel more
Yeah.
reactive. They comment on your choices mid-mission, butt heads with each other, and their loyalty can actually shift based on your moral compass. Each
Their
one of them
loyalty
apparently
can
has a
shift.
personal ideology, by the way, that ties into the main story. Think
So they said that we get 6 companions. They already know about 6 of the companions. Like, that's so uncool, bro. I didn't want to know exactly how many I could have. I feel like you can have more than that because before I had a lot of companions, but I would like kick them out and get new ones. But I'm guessing, based off what he said, you know, how some of them are connected to certain factions. If you don't align with those factions, then yeah, they're probably not gonna like you if you don't like praise the stars or whatever that one girl does, stuff like that.
Mass Effect style loyalty missions mixed with Fallout banter. Early reviewers are saying the companions feel less like walking skill buffs and more like genuine partners in the story, which is a big step up. And by the way, companions are optional. You don't have to
Is that a
recruit
wizard?
them, and you could boot them whenever you want, but they're more useful than in the first game, especially now that difficulty baseline is a hair higher by default. Exploration also seems to be more open too. Arcadia has larger hub zones, interconnected biomes, and fewer loading screens. It's not quite Bethesda level open world, by the way. It's still a very focused RPG, but it feels way less segmented than the first game. There's more verticality, giving you new angles to approach both combat and exploration. So yeah, let's talk visuals because Outer Worlds 2 looks quite beautiful. Obsidian is using Unreal Engine 5 this time, which can both build confidence but also present some worries, of course, given the history of Unreal Engine 5 and open worldish type games. The lighting, reflections, and character detail are miles ahead of the first game. Weapons spark and shimmer, the cities glow with that retro future neon vibe, and the alien wildlife pops with color and texture. Now, early impressions also point out the frame rate did hold steady during their hands-on impressions with no major hitches or bugs. That being said, early demos are always carefully controlled. Nobody's stress tested the game yet with hours of side missions, multiple companions, and late game chaos. Obsidian has a history of releasing ambitious but buggy games, so fans are cautiously optimistic. If the studio does nail down optimization at launch, this could easily be one of the smoothest Obsidian titles ever. If not, we might see the usual patch cycle that follows most of the releases, but again, it is Unreal Engine 5, and that's all I'm going to say about that. On the accessibility side of things, Obsidian's added customizable HUDs, aim assist options, and broader difficulty.
Because I play on PlayStation, it shouldn't be very hard to make the game work well on the PlayStation itself. You know what you're working with, you know the hardware. Make it good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like a PC where they're trying to figure out what's the minimum graphic card they can use this on, and the processor and this and that and the third, you know what I mean? So it's like, for me, if a game comes out and it's ass on the PlayStation, then it's ass. It's just ass. They weren't doing their job. Point blank, period. I'm never going to be a PC player. I'm not going to lie to you.
Sliders. There's even a story mode that lets you focus purely on exploration and dialogue if you want to. It's clear they want to make the experience playable for everyone, but also challenging if you want that, whether you're a shooter fan, a lore nerd, or someone who just wants to wander space, making sarcastic remarks at corporate overlords. So after all of this, how's Outer Worlds 2 really shaping up? Honestly, the Outer Worlds 2 looks like a confident sequel from a studio that knows exactly what fans loved about the original and what they needed to fix. Obsidian is very much dialed into.
Okay. From what I'm hearing, it's not bad. You know what I'm saying? It's looking good. I don't know if I want to watch this video right now. Where's my other one? Where is it at? Let's see. This is another game that I was interested in because I'm gonna keep it a buck right now. You know, we're watching this 007 video. I did not think anybody wanted this type of video, like didn't want this type of game anymore. I haven't seen a 007 game since I was like 12 on the PlayStation 2. There might have been other ones, but I haven't been keeping track, and I didn't know people have been keeping track, because when I look at the videos for this game, like the release trailer and all that stuff, them things got like 4 million views. I was like, what? Is this game actually that good? Is this game that sought after? Is the story going to be like that? So, you know, that's why I want to watch this. I want to see what's going on.
Some love the new 007 First Light gameplay, others aren't so convinced. Here's my thoughts on the gameplay that just dropped and whether it's really something you should honestly be excited for. So I think the first thing we have to point out is this game is being developed by IO Interactive, and they have literally made easily the best spy games I personally ever played. They might not be everyone.
Wait, IO Interactive made Hitman. Excuse me. Peak. It's actually Peak. If they made Hitman, that's crazy. Yeah.
Tea of Cup, as these games aren't exactly tailored to the TikTok generation, but I can't really think of a better developer that should take on the Bond series. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. So what first caught my eye is how the game includes real car brands instead of made up bollocks. Both Jaguar and Aston Martin are both featured in the game, which is nice for a change. And yes, it might be a small detail that many people don't give an absolute toss about, but I like how you can see Bond change gear whilst driving, and he clearly isn't a BMW driver, as he actually uses indicators for Pete's sakes. The FPS and performance during this playthrough is a bit on the piss. During the chase sequence is where it becomes most noticeable, and I know some people are very concerned about this, but what they fail to mention is the game is still 6 months from release. So I'm not really too concerned, but I guess time will tell once it finally does release. And those of you who love the Hitman games like me will be pleased to see that missions are very very open and are essentially open world sandbox with various ways to complete objectives.
Now that he brings it up, this looks a whole lot like Hitman. Like it looks like Hitman with a head of hair, and that's about it. Like the game looks exactly like what I remember playing Hitman. I've played a lot of the Hitmans. I don't think I've ever fully beaten one, quote unquote. I don't even know if you really can beat them, but I mean, you can beat the story. You know what I'm saying? I think only one I beat was Hitman 4. Don't quote me on that, man. My memory is shot.
Although this mission does look a bit more linear, and I'm guessing it's one of the earlier ones in the game, but later we get a better look at how much freedom you can expect. It's always kind of annoyed me how NPCs in Hitman and in other stealth games would never get a tad suspicious seeing a bald nonce traversing up a building. Plus in Bonds, you have to distract NPCs by setting a wheelbarrow on fire, Christ that voice break, instead of just climbing up a restricted building. And it's a nice attention to detail that also makes the game a bit more challenging. And I've seen many compare the climbing and just the overall aesthetics to Uncharted, which can only be seen as a huge compliment. And judging by the gameplay...
So is this game like a Hitman game, but with James Bond? I mean, that's cool, I guess. But I'm just wondering, where's all of the hype coming from? If anybody watches this, you know, tell me in the comments. We're like, why are you excited for this game in particular? Because I wouldn't typically play this, I'm not gonna lie, but it looks interesting. And I remember playing James Bond 007. I forget what it was called, but I remember playing it. I remember playing the first one on the Nintendo 64 a long time ago. But I also remember playing on the PlayStation 2, I believe, something like that.
The levels look highly immersive and really alive with lots of NPCs, which I feel is very important for games like this. And I'm not sure how big the sandbox missions actually are, but with it being structured like this instead of just a standard open world game we've seen hundreds of times, it really allows for NPCs to act like real people and for environments to feel real. And as the mission progresses, we do get a chase scene. And I have to say, although it's hard to tell from just watching the gameplay, I wouldn't expect Mafia level driving mechanics. But for a game that is likely going to consist of about 20% driving or less, I'm not really that bothered. The chase scene is actually pretty well put together, minus a PowerPoint FPS, which hopefully
I give absolutely zero craps about driving in a shooter.
Get a look at the gunplay, which essentially turns you into Guy Fawkes and consists of blowing enemies to absolute shreds. And I do like how the environment reacts to the explosions, and gunplay looks kind of standard, nothing majorly special.
Why did he just whiff everything?
What I did find the most interesting is this grappling mechanic, where you can throw enemies about like a ragdoll, and it looks very addicting. And once Bond gets onto the plane, we get to see a bit more of this.
I'm not gonna lie, the game looks very plain. Not to be like a hater or anything, it just looks meh. Like we're spending $70 on this, so to me I really want to know why. Like if somebody can convince me, like, or not convince me, because I want to do what I want with my own money, but you know what I mean, like if somebody can give me reasons as to why they're buying this, I'm gonna think about it more, you know what I mean? Because I like the way it looks, but $70, am I just paying for James Bond? Am I paying for his name? Because that's kind of what it looks like right now.
And I just know I'm probably going to end up throwing more than Hank Aaron. And this whole sequence is pretty impressive, to be honest. Having the ability to bank the plane, causing absolute chaos, looks pretty fun. And I just hope there are more massive action set pieces like this.
Dude got crushed.
I did enjoy this mission, I think this next segment did a much better job of really showing us what makes this Bond game unique, and how missions are actually structured. So when approaching enemies, you can either batter bellends like John Wick, or actually act like Bond by distracting one and twatting the doorknob off, locking the guy inside. And I don't ever remember being able to do this in Hitman. There are also different dialogue options when speaking to NPCs, which I'm assuming can lead to different outcomes and clues to completing your objective. And as you might expect, there are different gadgets you can use, like a laser, smoke pods, and darts, which are all pretty much used to distract enemies in different ways, whether it be using the environment or giving a bloke a pain in the neck that makes him walk like he's shat his pants. And I want to say that certain gadgets like the laser could be a bit OP, making missions a bit too easy, but then again, you do have a limited amount of ammo per one, making you carefully judge when to actually use them. But to be honest, this bluff mechanic was the most interesting thing to me though, as this is something we've just never been able to do in Hitman. Bond is known to be charismatic and not just a monotone baldy.
Bastard could be hiding right under your noses.
Damn. I'll keep an eye out for new faces.
I think it looks kind of refreshing to have another
So he's a liar. Yeah.
way to pass guards instead of just sneaking around or stealing disguises all the time.
Instead of sneaking around and disguising yourself, we should just be able to lie. Like, are we joking? Bro, come on, man. This is Hitman with a fucking James Bond coat on it. Oh man, this is my first time seeing this and actually knowing what the game is. So this is shocking.
Like in Hitman. Although I am curious to know whether enemies will eventually come after you if you hang around them long enough after bluffing, and whether you can actually wear disguises or not. Once things do go tits up, I was curious to see how combat really holds up outside of the set pieces. Seeing Bond twat enemies across a pool table, murk pool balls at heads, and using the environment to his advantage was a really nice surprise, to be honest. I feel like this is going to be the best way to play, instead of just whipping out a gun and shooting your way out of trouble. And I don't know about you, but personally, I'm getting sick to death of just shooting enemies all the damn time in games these days. So again, it just feels a bit refreshing, and it looks like they've...
Bro, he's saying it feels refreshing. Isn't that what Hitman is? Like, you're not just shooting people. You're sneakily doing something. I remember poisoning a bitch. Convincing her what is it? Her staff to bring her a poisoned drink. Because I went into the kitchen dressed as a chef and put that little rat stuff in there, you know what I'm saying? A rat poisoning. And then he brought that stuff out like, here you go. And she dies. I remember having a guy come out on the bottom balcony, having a girl come out on the top, and I pushed her off. She fell on him, and I got a double kill. Like, what if... That's what Hitman is. It's not like we're running through there shooting with a AK-47 at everybody in the game. You know what I'm saying? This is... What are we talking about? Refreshing. Like, the Hitman series has been going on for a while. It's the same game.
Really focused on this, as it was showed off a lot during this segment. And when gunfights do break out, I like how you can throw guns at enemies, and there seems to be a lot of emphasis on using your environment in the game, even during gunfights. So does 007 First Light really look like a game that is worth buying? Or does it just look kind of average like some people are saying? Maybe my expectations are lower than an old Vince.
I'm gonna stop the video right there. You know, hold on. I'm gonna go big screen for this. To be completely honest with you. Oh Jesus, what is that? There people talking? Oh, I didn't have my thing up. Wait, what? Great streamer, click your stream. Oh my gosh, what is going on there? Maybe I do need to pull up my Twitch. No, nobody's watching right now. So what is that? Okay. Whatever. What is this? I don't know what that is. Anyways, you know, the 007 James Bond thing, it looks like Hitman with a fresh coat of paint on it with some more you know, a little bit more action-packed stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't look like anything new. It doesn't look like anything special, to be completely honest. To me, it looks very plain, like very regular, and which is fine. I'm not saying it's like terrible, but we could do better, bro. Like, I mean, I guess if you really like James Bond, but I don't know anybody in my generation who even really watched James Bond, so it's like that's not our thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? John Wick is our thing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm bugging, but I appreciate y'all. Let's go see what else we got on the docket. Let's see what else we got on the docket. The harsh truth about Call of Duty. Let's hear what Nick Merckx got to say about Call of Duty.
Guys, in today's video, we're talking about Call of
Oh,
Duty. The community's been
more
very
Nick
vocal
Merckx.
about how things have been around that game. They made some good changes during the beta, and they're showing good signs, but until we really see something good, it's kind of hard to get excited. So today, Nick's doing a little rant, talking about the game, things around the game, and what's to come. So let us know in the comments how you guys are feeling about COD as a whole. If you guys like this video,
COD's looking like ass. You know, I bought the last one. I bought Black Ops 6. I played it for a month. Kit Master Prestige in it. So I played the game a lot. My main problem with the game was that it was sending me to like Indonesia so that I couldn't actually shoot people. Bullets weren't registering. I would get hit with like 3 bullets and die, and I would put a whole mag in somebody and they wouldn't die. And I was decent enough to, to hit platinum rank. So like I have some type of skill to where like I'm hitting people. I know I'm hitting people, but it's just like not working. So that's what really mainly steered me away from the Call of Duty franchise as a whole.
Like the video.
and subscribe to the channel, man. We got banger videos coming. We got so many new games coming out.
Bro, okay.
Brother, peace and love, baby. We get controller settings. Keep up the amazing work. We have them, actually. It's on my second channel, guys. And look. I don't ask you guys for much, man, but we're coming up on 1 million subscribers on the second YouTube channel. If you could find it in your little beautiful hearts to subscribe, I'd appreciate that. All right. There is a video on there with my settings.
So
Every
stupid.
controller setting. I've been using a new controller. We're going to talk about it, but I've been using a new roller for the last, 2 months. Bald Mercs, don't let him forget, chat. What was the deal, Rick? Is Bald Mercs if I get it by the end of the year, man? If I get it by the end of the year, 1 million subs on second channel, I'll shave my head. I needed to make GameSir controller with 4 paddles, and I'll purchase immediately. Motherfucker, what do you need 4 paddles for? You ain't using for what kind of fucking hands you got? You got ET hands? 4 paddles. You got ABXY, my fucking dick, Alex. Fort Nightmares. Y'all on some bullshit today, chat. 2 paddles for people who hold their nose. Chat, if I catch any of y'all plugging your nose before you suck, just play more, man. Hey, guys, improvement is really easy. You just got to do more of whatever you're trying to get better at, man, you know? That's all it is.
That is true. That is very true. Play the game. Get better. Get good. You know what I mean?
Explain Tim gameplay. Well, Tim doesn't really game. I imagine, when you look inside of a human's brain, they do that weird thing where the camera pans
That's
into
kinda
the brain.
effed
Like,
up.
if you panned into Tim's brain, it's just a bunch of food and, a baseball parlay. Like, he's playing Battlefield, but he ain't even on
That's
the field.
crazy.
He's,
Crazy
thinking
work.
about pasta and shit, Just sub to both channels. Thanks for the info. I think Battlefield has a real chance to put COD in a bad spot and keep him there. Well, they already put COD in a bad spot. A bad spot being they put the pressure on them. Not that they're in a bad spot. They just put good, healthy pressure on Call of Duty to do right, So I agree with you there. But to keep them there, hell no. Yeah, hell no, brother.
Nick, are you delusional?
You want to know why? Why? How old are you, bro? Why? You on YouTube chat? Why? How old are you, brother? You want to know why? Let me tell you something, Jay. All right, let me tell you something. Let me tell you, this is harsh reality. No, lean, shut the fuck up. Lean in. Shut up. Lean in.
Hear what
Harsh
this
reality.
goofball has to say.
Heads in. Let me get your ears and your eyeballs. Here it is, guys. Okay? How many of you are, let's say, over 21 in the streams? Matter of fact, just type of me
I'm
in the YouTube
26.
chat,
Gang.
Twitch chat. Where we at? Are you over 21? Right. Pretty much fucking everybody. Look at that. Pretty goddamn close to everybody in these streams. Okay, this is the hard part. Ready? Look, are you looking at me if you type me? Okay. You don't fucking matter anymore, man. You don't matter, bro. Hey, you hear me? I know. I'm sorry. This is real raw, right to the point, man. What you don't want to hear, you don't want to believe it. You've been thinking it, but you don't want to believe that. I'm fucking give it to you. You don't fucking matter anymore. These goddamn game developers, these companies, they don't care about your dumbass no more. Okay? You don't fucking matter. You understand?
That's a crazy take.
I care about you, but it's not. That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about Call of Duty. They don't care. Every year, a plethora of little 13-year-old, 14. I don't know what year do parents allow their children to play games like Call of Duty? I don't fucking know. I don't have a kid that's even close to that age yet. But every year, a horde of them, a barrage of just little warriors begin to play Call of Duty.
That is true. I started playing when I was like 13.
Is who they care about.
My brother started playing when
They
he was
don't care
10.
about you anymore, Chet. On God, they don't give a fuck about you. They know that you on your way out, man. You don't matter. You got to go to work, bro. Chet, you got responsibilities, man.
I mean,
You got kids and a wife
I guess.
and a dog. You got to buy cat food. Fucking pay the electricity. They don't care about you. They care about.
Okay. So we're gonna. I guess we're gonna talk about this. This is a dumbass take. Like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard a grown man say, I think. To say that COD, like the developers of COD, don't care about people over the age of 21 is like being like, oh, they just don't care about their money. Kids don't like, I understand kids can be a demographic that you go after because parents will buy them things that they want. You know, people will ask for things like, I want Call of Duty, Black Ops, blah, 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 blah. But if everyone, like, all right, let me start right here. If, when I was a kid, I wasn't just buying a game every week. Like, I can buy a game every month now. I'm a grown man. I have the money to do that. I buy a game every month most of the time. I'm not going to lie. Because that's what I want to do. That's what I want to spend my money on half the time. But when I was a kid, it was like 3 a year, getting 3 games a year. And so if one of those games is going to be Black Ops 6 because everybody's saying how good it is on the internet, which these kids are all on, these kids are addicted to the internet. It is a problem. They can see that the Battlefield 6 is doing great. And then they see everybody talking about how bad Call of Duty has been, how bad the game has gotten. Other than the skins thing, I don't care about skins. I like skins. But the whole, skill-based matchmaking, the whole skill-based bullet trajectory, the skill-based hit registration, the game did too much wrong for me to sit here and think that these kids are just going to be like, yeah, let's waste my parents' money. Like, you might, but if I have a limited selection of games I can get in a year, I highly doubt the $70 shooter that is going down the drain is going to be a part of that list, to be completely honest with you. But maybe I'm bugging.
The kids, because the kids are going to play the game a lot more than your dumbass is going to play the game. And they're going to make a lot more money off that kid than they're going to make off you. Because that kid is going to find your credit card. And that kid is going to want that fucking Godzilla skin. He's going to want that Predator fucking skin, man. That Alien skin. He's going to want that Family Guy skin. He's going to want all of it. And he's going to spend $29 on that fucking skin. Are you? No, you're not. Because fuck Call of Duty. But your kid, he wants that. And he's going to buy it. And you're not going to charge it back. It's going to happen so quick, you're going to take the L. You're going to take it. Okay? And that's the situation that we're in.
Is Nick Marks just letting his children take his credit card and spend his money? Bro, it must be crazy to be rich to have this type of stupid ass take. If I would have taken my mother's card as a child and just spent her money, just spent it without telling her, not even asking, oh my God, the amount of beat that would have been put on me is insane. The amount of hurt that would have been put on my soul, I'd have been dead. This is RIP in GTA.
let me loop it back around. That is why Call of Duty is not going anywhere.
No,
Right.
it is.
Because everybody in
You're
this motherfucker's been playing Call of Duty for 15
You're
years.
trolling.
We've seen the best days. We've seen the worst. It's over, man. Okay? They don't fucking care. They don't care.
I think Call of Duty's gonna
dickheads are already
die.
making Call
No.
of Duty Black Ops 9. They're in there right now. I don't know how you make a video game, but they're in there typing on their keyboard, coding, maybe typing some shit that we can't read. They're making Black Ops 9 right now. And they're making the skins for it. You know, it used to be 100 people that were making the game. 80 of them are making the game. 20 are doing the cosmetics. Now it's 100 people making the game. 80 of them are making cosmetics. 20 of them are making the game. That's it. And they're
probably
just
not wrong.
pumping them out. Bop, 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 bop. We used to spend $20 to get 3 maps and 2 game modes. Now we get Pikachu. that's hey, people blame streamers, but y'all motherfuckers are buying them too. It's just the nature of the beast. Fortnite, man. The difference is Fortnite was free, is free. This fucking game, man, you know, $80 here, $20 there. Here's the deluxe pack. Here's the battle pass. You know, fuck them, man. All right, anyway, so let me get that off my chest. Let's be.
Long story short, you know what I'm saying? You can go watch Nick Merckx. He's kind of a goofball, but I like him. He's an interesting man to listen to. You know what I mean? The game sucks. Let me make this bigger. Let me go over here. Do this. The game sucks so bad. I don't know how any human being. What is that on my fucking screen? This tweak out. Bro, this is from yesterday. What the fuck? Whatever. The game sucks. Like, genuinely, it sucks. I forgot what I was gonna say. Call of Duty sucks. Thanks for watching. You know what I'm saying? I think I am gonna cut the stream right there. GG's chat. Anybody who came through, you know what I'm saying? We're learning about some things, and I'm learning that I'm gonna be playing Outer Worlds 2 on Friday. So let's go. You know what I mean? All right. GG's chat.